All right, let's see if the audio works. All right, we are good. We're good to go. So today we just saw a sub-to deal. So that means you are purchasing the property subject to the existing financing that's already in place to the property. So that just means that when you buy the property, the deed or the title will transfer to your name, but the existing mortgage will remain in the seller's name, hence subject to. All right, let's look at some details. 8218 Ryan Park Drive in Houston, Texas, 77095. A 3-bed, 2-bath, 1822 square feet. 1983 bill, it's a slightly older. Cash at close, $20,000 plus closing costs plus the TC fee of $1,000. $5,000 cash to seller, $4,500 to agent, $88.35 for arrears, $9,665 for an assignment fee. ARV is $250,000. Remaining mortgage $232,666. That includes a down payment assistance of $94.50. So usually, sometimes there's a down payment assistance that you can qualify for if you're a first-time home buyer, depending on whatever type of mortgage it is. Usually, that down payment assistance does not fall off, or it might become due. So just be careful of that. Interest rate 3.5%. The PITI on this property is 1873. Principal is 396. Interest 648. Taxes, insurance is 828.39. Okay. Rental is 2200. Section 8 is 2435. Oh, interesting. See how they listed the Section 8 is higher than the rentals. I don't think that's going to happen, but we'll see. All right, let's look at the photos for this property. Okay. Let's see. This property looks like it's got a garage. So in the back of my head, I'm thinking about, hey, I can potentially convert that garage into a room. Or look at this. I kind of like this. Like, this is a dining room, but really this could be a bedroom if you convert it, because there's enough space, there's an egress already. So just something for you to keep in mind on how you might be able to creatively get more rents here, because you already have a living room right here too. And it's still a dining space right here next to the kitchen. So I think that dining room can also be a bedroom. So that's one thing I'm thinking about right now. So as I'm getting rents for this area, I'm going to look at rents for a 4-bedroom and not just a 3-bedroom. For the most part, I'm assuming this place just needs some paint. Flooring looks fine. Not a lot of carpeting. So I'm just going to repaint it in place for this property. All right, cool. Cool. Let's get the FMR. So FMR stands for fair market rents. So when you type in HUD FMR, you're going to click on the first link right here. After you get to the first link, you're going to be able to come down here and click on access to small area FMRs. Again, for those of you that are following on Instagram, if you want the full screen version, just go to youtube.com/@Kent, Kent_he. So this property is in Houston. Let me just double check. I think it's Harris County. It's Harris County. Okay. So when you go here, you can select the state and the county that your property is in, and you will be able to get the fair market rents, FMR, by zip code, by bedroom count. For this property, it was, what's the zip code? 77095, 70095. Here's your rents. Your rent for a 3-bedroom is $21.30, and your rent for a 4-bedroom property is $27.30. So I'm going to go to my Excel file really quick and make sure I write this down, which is, again, for the zip code in 77095, a 3-bed is going to be $21.30. Then the 4-bed, it's going to be $27.30. All right. I'm going to note these numbers down. All right. And then the next thing we're going to do is get the market rents. So I'm going to go to affordablehousing.com, go to the owner section, go to market rent estimator, and I plugged in the numbers for a 3-bedroom. You can see that the most important number that I care about is this number on the far right, which says that for 0.4 mile radius within 25 units there, the average rent for a 3-bedroom is going to be $19.69. So when I underwrite this as a 3-bedroom property, I'm going to assume that my max rent is $19.69 to be conservative here. Now, even though the FMR says that the rent is 2130, typically the housing authority will have a rent reasonableness test, which means that just because you're renting out to a voucher holder does not mean you can charge more than the market rent. Okay, so that's my rents for a 3-bedroom. I'm gonna grab the 4-bedroom rents here as well. So when I change it to 4, this is how you get it. 2417. Great. That's much more like it. So 2417. So if I change it to a 4-bedroom property, I'm going to assume that my rent here is going to be 2417 for this property. 2399. I'm just writing this down in Excel spreadsheet, and I'll share this spreadsheet with all of you in just a second. I like to kind of go through all my due diligence on one page and grab everything at the same time. Now, am I seeing any sort of things that tells me this is in an area? I don't think so. This looks like a pretty well maintained neighborhood. You can kind of see that everybody's got their landscaping together. I'm assuming it's a lot of pride of ownership. Yeah, nothing looks wrong in this neighborhood here. Where am I located? This is very much out in the burbs, I think, in Northwest Houston. So good to know. I usually go to tophap.com. We do that today. Let's confirm. Let's do the entire process together, huh? So normally I go to tophap.com, just kind of verify the crime index number. When you go to tophap.com, tophap.com, you can go to the neighborhood section. Once you go down here, you can see that the crime index score is a whopping 35. I live in an area where it's 88. The national average is 100. So this is a very, very safe neighborhood. So it kind of matches to what we saw on our street view. So to me, that seems like a pretty good area. So it checks all the boxes here so far. Okay, great. Now, next thing I want to do is I'm going to show my Excel sheet so you guys can kind of see me plugging in numbers now that we've gone through all the details already. So let's kind of pull up the Excel file and we'll talk through just exactly what we can get on this property. All right, let me maximize this so I can keep it. Well, again, for you, those of you that are watching on Instagram, you guys can go watch a full YouTube version just because Instagram has a vertical view, so it looks kind of weird sometimes whenever you are looking at these deals and they don't show the entire screen. So I'm going to verbalize everything just in case you're following on Instagram so everyone can follow along. And I'm going to talk out loud the deal details that we previously mentioned. So let's just put in the cash to seller, which was $5,000. We had $88.35 in arrears. We had $4,500 of commissions to the agent. I'm going to leave in closing costs in here at 2.5%. We're going to have another transaction fee of $1,000. So I'm going to add in $1,000 right here, just so that I can have it in place. Other 1,000. Okay, so my entry fee right now is $5,000, $88.35, $4,500, and then I have an assignment fee. So don't forget about that. So there's $4,500 of commission to the agent, but then I got to add in my assignment fee of $9,665. So that gives me the total there. There we go. All right. So now I have my remaining mortgage balance at $232,666.84. So what's my purchase price? I'm going to assume that my asking price is equals to the cash to seller plus the remaining balance. That's going to give me to $237 right here. All right. Now I'm going to go through my renovations, and this is a line item detail. Sometimes it's a little bit too detailed and sometimes it might be overkill, but I'm going to assume that one, I need to convert one of the bedrooms. I'm going to put in 20 grand just to be super, super conservative. I think I'll probably be down for like 15 grand, but this property was 77,095 for the zip code, 1822 square feet. So I'm going to assume that I'm going to repaint the entire home at $3 a square foot. That's similar to the price I paid in Scottsdale. So I'm assuming I'm going to get a relatively similar price here. I'm going to assume that there might be some roof repairs for $1,500 on this property. I'm going to assume I can keep the landscaping clean because it seems like everybody really cares about that in this neighborhood. No flooring work here. I am going to assume that the bathroom looks great. It didn't look like anything I needed that in the photos. I am going to assume that I need to add an extra bedroom for 20 grand right here. And this gets me to a total rehab budget of $34,159. Okay. Equals 34,159. That equals that. Boom. All right. My monthly income rent as I went through this was, if you remember correctly, if I'm going to leave this at a 3-bedroom, 1969, I'm going to write down here bedroom. So I'm going to write down all my scenarios right now. Bed count 3. Now I'm going to have a 4-bedroom analysis. So my 3 rent is going to be 1969. That's the one scenario I'm going to want to go through. And then the other scenario I want to go through is 2417 if I do make it bigger. So right now, because I'm underwriting as a 3-bedroom, I'm going to remove the $20,000 that we saw earlier, right? So just so you guys are following, right? I have to make my assumptions correlate to what my rent assumptions are. So if I assume it's going to stay at 3-bedroom, it's pretty turnkey, I'm going to keep the renovation at just 10 grand ish, right around at this number. Now, my property taxes is going to equal to, you guys remember the spreadsheet, property taxes is $828.39. So I'm just going to use the total number of the PITI, which is $1,873. I'm going to minus the principal minus the interest. There is no second loaner, so let me zero that out. And that's going to equals to 509. What's my interest rate on this? 3.5. Boom. Okay. There we go. 828. That matches up because their tax insurance almost 828.39. I have 828.22. So you're off by 7 cents, give or take. Adding $30 for the insurance. And right now I have 10% set aside for my maintenance. I got 8% for my property management, 3% for vacancy on this property. And this is now a negative $347, negative $347. So this is not a deal at that price because my cash on cash return is negative 9.25. Purchase price is $237,667. So this is assuming a $10,000 rehab. Okay. Now let's add back in because now we're going to turn into a 4-bedroom. Let's add in back to 20 grand, and then that's going to add 24 grand because I usually put a 20% contingency in there just in case things happen and delays happen with permits, etc. And now I'm going to change my rent to 2417. Okay. 2417. Right. So now guess what? For me to assume a higher rent number, my renovation needs to go up, right? Makes sense. You got to have things make sense here. You can't just get extra rent without doing additional renovations. So my goal was to convert that kitchen or dining area into additional bedroom. That'll get you to a 4-bedroom. And now what is my cash and cash return? So for me to turn this into a 4-bedroom property, I'd be spending extra 20 grand, but this results in a whopping $6 of cash flow a month, 0.1% cash and cash return. To me, this is not a deal, but if you think about it, if you are a person that really wants to live in this area and you're thinking, hey, worst case scenario, rents will go up. I'll probably live in here for a couple of years. Maybe I'll live in here and I can turn to a 4-bedroom while living here. And boom, you can now all of a sudden have a break-even home when the time you sell. So for some people, that might make sense. For me, this is not a deal from an investor perspective, but just because it's not a deal for you does not mean it's not a deal for somebody else. So that's how I evaluate this deal. I didn't have another agenda for it. Usually we can probably come up with a different way, but there's really no equity in here to think about how can you mess around with the cash or seller. So what if even if you took out the entire assignment fee from the wholesaler on this transaction, you're barely making a dent because there's not much cash flow after you take out some maintenance budget from the property. So that's just something for you guys to be careful about because some people might just think like, oh, the rent is 24 or something and the PITI is 1873, so you'll make about $400 to cash flow. But that's really not true. You got to have in maintenance. Something eventually breaks at the home, and I see so many people teaching this the wrong way. And if you really mess this up, you might end up replacing a roof on your property, and all of a sudden your cash flow for the past 5 years would have gone down a drain. And that's just not the right position to be in, and that will likely discourage you from investing in real estate anymore if you go through some losses like that. So again, this is not a solicitation for investments. This is not investment advice. This is not any financial advice. It's all for information, entertainment purposes only. I am simply documenting what I'm doing every day that is boring and repetitive, but it's also the habit that you need to develop for you to recognize when a deal might look like a deal. And these are all projected numbers, all projected returns. They were not based off of any sort of contract or quotes. So you got to figure out whether or not this is worth a while for you to investigate further and to send a contractor out there. Because I think once you get really good at underwriting and analyzing, then you'll figure out what is worth your time and when you would actually send somebody out to take a look at the deal for you. I hope you guys are able to copy what I'm doing, create your own YouTube channels, and put it onto your own spreadsheets and get some practice. Do this with me. Stay consistent. This is a great habit to kind of go through and learn. And I'm so happy that you guys are doing this with me. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate all your time and help. Thank you so much for caring about affordable housing. And we are out. We will do this again tomorrow. Talk to you guys later.